Hey YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes to rant, and finally after a long hiatus, I'm dropping a fresh VID for you. Please excuse the fact that I'm recording in different video quality at the moment. My computer decided it no longer likes my webcam, so until I can get that straightened out, I'm using my phone, so take that as you will. But I couldn't let Money in the Bank go by without talking about it. Both the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good news is the things that were really good on this pay-per-view were excellent. Unfortunately, the end came along and kind of flushed that down the crapper, but we'll get to that as we get to it. I will briefly mention the kickoff match, although I won't spend too much time. It was a decent match between the Usos and Rowan and Daniel Bryan, but to me, it doesn't make sense that the Usos, which are a Raw tag team, are in a feud with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, even with that ludicrous wildcard rule in effect. But the less said about that, the better. No one made any mistakes. It was a decent match to get the crowd fired up, and I guess you could say it did what it needed to do. On to the opener of the actual pay-per-view, which was the women's Money in the Bank match. And this was fantastic. Everything from Ember Moon's eclipse off the ladder to the fact that Bayley managed to win. An event for her that I hope will bring the significance it deserves. I say I'm hope because I'm cautious because of WWE's track record. But we'll get more into that in a second. It was great to see Bayley have this kind of edge to her. It was the kind of thing I haven't seen since her run as NXT Women's Champion, when she finally was more than just a hugger. She's still that sweet girl, but I think she finally understands if she's going to be as successful as she wants to be, she needs to have that edge. I think she finally figured it out, and maybe after the whole thing with Alexa Bliss and how terrible that was for her, and the mediocre run with the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, I hope she finally turns the corner because she deserves it. She deserves it. Next we had Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the United States title. These two can't catch a break. Let's be honest, both men aren't spring chickens anymore. They've been in the business a long time. In Rey Mysterio's case, a long, long, long time. And it shows. He's really past his Best Buy date. This match was stopped. Not stopped, but the finish was adjusted because Samoa Joe's nose got broken. And they threw in controversy because the ref clearly didn't see that when Ray got the pin, Joe's shoulder was a foot off the mat. But he counted 1, 2, 3 anyway. The poor refs, they must have been smoking something this night, because between this and the Miz and Shane McMahon cage match, it's bad when the announcers are calling out officials for not knowing the rules of the match. And they tried to cover by saying, they're just protecting their jobs because the McMahons are in charge. No, there were just so many botches happening that couldn't be covered. They tried, they failed because commentators were put in bad positions, referees were in bad positions that I'm assuming they were told to be. But it is what it is. Speaking of the cage match, it shocked me that Shane went over again on The Miz. The expectation by most people was, okay, Shane got the win at WrestleMania, and Miz will get his win back here. It didn't happen. And I think it's a combination of the McMahons once again using their clout to make sure they go over the talent, which God forbid a full-time wrestler like The Miz, who I'll admit I have no love for, but he isn't terrible anymore. the full-time wrestler can't go over. No, we gotta put over the chairman's son, because that's what's best for business, isn't it, Vince? A lot of problems with you as a result of this. What else do we have? Cruiserweights. We had Arya Daivari and Tony Nese. These guys put on a perfectly serviceable match. Excuse me. The only problem is, if you're not watching 205 Live, like I'm not, you had no build coming into this pay-per-view, and it's not their fault. Nobody cares about the current Cruiserweight division. And when I say that, I don't mean the fans that watch it. I mean the company that represents it. WWE doesn't care about the Cruiserweights. Yes, they have their own brand, but it's not really promoted in a way that gets your attention. And there's nothing about it other than the fact that they do their best to put on an athletic competition that would draw you to 205 Live, or make you buy a subscription to the WWE Network if you didn't already have one. So I feel bad for him. Nese is fantastic, and Arya Daivari has come a long way from his initial showing in the initial Cruiserweight Classic. So all power to those boys. Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. It doesn't surprise me that Becky won this match. It doesn't surprise me that Charlotte won the follow-up match. Anyone who's mad that Becky isn't Becky Two Belts anymore needs only remember that her boyfriend Seth Rollins is on Raw. So it makes sense that she wants to spend most of her time there. And also, fortunately, after the match with Charlotte had concluded and Charlotte had won, thanks to some greediness by both Lacey and Charlotte to beat up the man afterwards, Bayley came out, made the save, Charlotte knocked herself out, and Bayley got the win. Good for you, Bayley. Now, the problem is, WWE has a problem when it comes to people in their first title runs. It tends to be on the pathetic side. Bayley deserves better. But once again, looking at you, Vince, you're going to find a way to mess it up. And I feel so bad for Bayley because of that. On to Roman Reigns versus Elias. Now, if you look at this as a whole, the concert from Elias was fine and entertaining. I always do enjoy his pre-match ceremony, if you will. But given how quick he was squashed by Roman, Vince McMahon, if you keep this up, you're going to make people forget that Roman beat cancer, and they're going to go back to booing him, just like when you tried to push him as the guy down our throat when the Shield first disbanded. Right now he's riding high because everyone's glad he's back. But wrestling fans only have a short amount of tolerance for things like this. I can assure you, it won't last forever. You need to find a way to get more push on Roman and more push on your undercard, because you have too much talent to be using it the way you're using them now. And I'm sorry. Now, on to what most people consider to be the match of the night. And, I can't disagree, because it was two great athletes who were very smooth in the ring. Speaking, of course, of Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. But I don't know. See, as good as this match was, and I'd give it 3 3/4 stars. But for me, the actual better match was the SmackDown WWE Championship match between Kofi and Kevin Owens. And I'll gladly invite you to fight me in the comments if you wish. Looking at you, Black Knight. Yeah, I responded to and read those comments. Come fight me. Bring your pitchforks and torches. I'm ready. But the reason that this is better is we knew that Rollins and AJ were fantastic singles wrestlers, and they went out and gave us pretty much everything we could ask for. But there wasn't any real story other than we fought once in the past, and you were better, and we fought once now, and I'm better, and that works. But for me, the better story was Kevin Owens calling into question whether Kofi could win on his own without his New Day brethren at his side, and he proved that he did. And they fought a lot more intensely, in my opinion, than AJ and Seth did. Again, taking nothing away from either match, both were very good. But for me, I'd give the slight edge to the SmackDown title on this night. You can disagree, you're welcome to. But now, we gotta come to the thing that started out so well and ended so poorly. That men's Money in the Bank match. The moves that everybody pulled off was sick. The Spanish Fly by Ali, the bounce that Finn Balor took off the ladder, that was sick. I hope his arm and wrist isn't hurt, because I saw him clutching at that shortly after that spot. The last thing Finn Balor needs is another injury to sideline him for any length of time, especially after finally putting at least the IC title on him. But you know, everything's clicking along, and you know, I know WWE is desperate for ratings. They really are. But to have Brock Lesnar come back and win the Money in the Bank case, presumably setting him up to get the title off of Rollins again, probably at the Saudi Arabia show. Oh, Lord. I didn't think it would ever come to this, because no one was more excited than me initially when Brock came back and busted John Cena open. I'm like, alright, he's going to bring some legitimacy to the WWE. And initially, when Suplex City was created, I was on board. It was catchy. But somewhere along the line, that's all Brock wanted to do anymore. And it's gotten boring. And when Brock wins that title again and goes away for another, say at least another 200 days before we see him again, you know, it defeats the point of getting the title off of him in the first place. And I hate to tell you, Vince, Brock Lesnar isn't going to save your ratings, because we're just waiting for October to come along when a certain promotion is starting up. A certain elite promotion. A certain All Elite Wrestling. Oh, you're nervous, aren't you, Vince? Because you haven't had direct competition in 20 plus years, and you don't know how to handle it. Especially while you're splitting your focus between WWE and the XFL, which you're trying for the second time. Don't get me wrong, I'm kind of excited for that. But your product has suffered because your focus isn't where it needs to be. Anyway, if I had to grade this event on the whole, right up to the end, I would have given it a solid B+. But Lesnar winning and the prospects of what that sets up, I gotta take it down from that to a C. I'm sorry. Everybody worked hard, but that ending kind of killed it for me. Anyway, please feel free to post your comments about the event down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the videos by The Wrestling Ranter, click that subscribe button and make sure the bell icon is turned to on and your notification preference is selected so you know when another video of mine goes live. Ranter's going to get off the soapbox. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.